All right, there we are live on YouTube. I'm going to turn the mic over to you, Rev Wayne Stills. This mic is all yours.
Hey everyone, how you doing? What's happening? We're Stills here. We're Wayne Stills, and this is ACIM Gather. ACIM Gather
All
about
right, there we
us.
are.
Hello, am I on? Am I on?
Yes, you're on.
Oh, okay. Hello everyone, how are you? This is River Wayne Stills of the ACIM Gather. ACIM Gather. Us. And then we're doing it for the Christ Mind today. For the Christ Mind. For anyone who doesn't know, that's channeled by Daryl Morley Price. And it's a heck of a book. It's the same voice, I guess you can, how else to say it, but it's the same voice as A Course in Miracles. And if you read the introduction, he makes it clear that that's the point of the book. It's not trying to be different or trying to be anything. It's just the same voice. And it's meant to inspire people who are on the course or off the course to get on the course, back on the course, however you want to put it. And it's so far as I've seen it, it's the course. And it's just slightly different. It's not as thick as the course. It's the only difference I could say, right? Right, right. Would you say that's the main difference? I don't feel it's not as thick as in terms of the language. Lim, would you say that's the main difference so far? Oh, she must have done. So that's the main difference as I can see it so far is that that it's just a bit of a smoother read, which just means that was how he it was how he how it was easier, I suppose, for Daryl Morley Price to receive it and write it down, and
I'm sorry, I had my mic muted. So
oh
when you were asking me a question, yeah,
yeah
this is I believe it's the same, and it's just so beautifully put together.
yeah
So yeah, I muted my
yeah.
mic because right when we first come on YouTube, the YouTube starts playing on another window. And so you'll hear
Oh, and it had the
and it
delay,
sounds
right?
like something else is playing, but it's really just the YouTube. If I don't mute my mic fast enough, you're going to hear it. So
Yeah, I
I just
understand.
got to
And
be quicker.
there's also a delay on it, probably, right?
Yeah, there's a little delay on it. So
Yeah, that's
yeah,
bad.
so anyways, we're all good now.
Yeah, yeah. So I was just saying that the only difference I guess you can say is that it's a bit smoother. It's not as thick as it's not as bumpy of a read when you first read it
Yeah,
as
yeah,
the
it's
text
more
is.
explanatory. You know what the thing about A Course in Miracles, and it's all wonderful. I love it, but it's set up kind of like a little puzzle, kind of, and you
Yeah,
have to try to figure out what the heck he's talking about. And he'll say things, and you'll read it in the course, and you'll be like, "What the heck does that mean?" And then you have to go and figure it
exactly.
out.
Yeah,
Whereas this book, From the Christ Mind, is straightforward. It's not, you don't have to try to figure anything out. Which I
no,
mean,
no.
but both ways are good because I'm telling you, if I didn't have to figure things out and stretch my mind and look for how can this be, then I would just blow it off. But since
Yeah,
I've already figured it out that it is, what I think is true, then I don't have to, I can listen to it in a more straightforward way and say, yes, I agree. That makes perfect
yeah,
sense.
absolutely. Well,
So,
the old expression, "the head's above the heart for a reason." That applies to the Course of Miracles very well.
yeah, yeah.
Because they're very much, I don't say heady, but they're very much reasons is very the word for that book as well. Intellect, and then one of the ways that I have found is not to grind over anything and wait for the point that it's being made to repeat itself. And the way that I make it more emotional for me is treat it like it's a song, because most music repeats itself, and the chorus is circular and it repeats itself. Then any good book that's trying to get truth into you, it repeats itself over and over again in different ways. It says it comes around to the same truth over and over and over and over again. So if you read it, like any good truth, any book, good song, it raises your consciousness up without getting on without getting specific questions answered or specific things happening. Is that going to manifest a car or manifest this? Or you, oh yeah, that's what I have to do. I have to ask that person out or talk to that person. But it will get you to a place where you can make choices that are more suitable to your life. So you hear a
Right.
song, you hear a song you like. Oh wow, that puts me in a great place. Whenever I hear that rock and roll song, whenever I hear that song or that classical song, I go. It moves me to a place where I'm for the next week. I'm at a higher place. And if you read the course for a year, man, you're permanently put in that place.
Yes.
You can be at
Yes.
least, you know what I mean? And then you're fine. You're making great choices.
Yeah, yeah, because it's training you how to think,
Yeah,
whereas a lot of other books are just teaching you don't have to think, we'll just give it to you. And it's really interesting. I don't know what kind of a upbringing you had, or whatever your school age, but I went to Catholic school, and they were very much into, they taught you logic, how to think. I mean, a lot of people think, Catholic school sounds like a really nasty thing, but really they taught you how to think.
right,
Whereas
right.
when I went in public school, they just taught you what to think.
Yeah, I was more,
And
more
those are
mine,
two different things.
mine taught me. My friend taught the best. I was more like in a wayward school for boys, that kind of thing. And
Uh-huh.
our school was like the only way it could have been worse was if they had actually sucked knowledge out of you.
Wow. Yeah.
But that was a small school in New York City. And it was a terrible school. It's better now over time, it got better. But at the time, it was relatively, I guess, a new school. And it was terrible.
That's so funny.
Yeah,
When
so
you
that
said,
friend, my friends, but it was one of these schools that was what you said. They just would give you, you had a certain curriculum, and it was it.
yeah,
You followed the curriculum. And it was a good school. One thing I liked about the school was you made good friends.
yes.
You made good friends, and they didn't get in the way of that. They didn't foster any kind of separation or anything like that. And school was very good for that. And all my friends that I've been my whole life are still friends with them. I'm from there. We're having an anniversary coming up. Anniversary, a reunion coming up.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That's,
Yeah,
yeah,
so I mean,
yeah.
I have good memories of school. It's just there was not, I didn't learn anything, and they didn't prepare me for college.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't have good memories of my high school. Actually, I dropped out when I was 16. I
Uh,
dropped out of high school and went and hitchhiked around the country and did a lot of wild stuff. And then I actually just went to college. I was kind of out for a year, and then when I came back, the local college sent me an invite. They're trying to bring back the people that had dropped out and give them a better experience. So I went to college, and I never got a GED. I never graduated from high school.
oh, really?
I have no high school diploma, nothing, but I have 4 college degrees. So the college stuck because,
Wow.
again, they were letting you think. And I preferred to be able to think than
Oh,
to be
sure.
just spoon-fed stuff that was may or may not have been useful to me at any point in my life.
And
So
I can never, for me to leave high school would have been stupid because all my friends would have to leave with me. Yeah. All my, I didn't know where to go.
yeah, no, I didn't have any friends either.
All my friends were there.
I had no friends.
And well, I don't know where the hell I would have gone. I was all alone. You
Yeah,
know, and
I was
then,
the oddball, so that if you're an oddball, but people kind
yeah,
of shun for me. And I mean I didn't. It wasn't because I was I mean I was trying to be different. I
yeah,
was trying to be different. I got kicked out of school 3 times for dress code violations. At that time, you couldn't wear blue jeans to school. I wore blue jeans to school. I got kicked out. I
wow.
started a strike where and got people to sit out in the hallway instead of going to class, protesting their blue jeans. thing. And the next year after I had dropped out, they changed it and said that you could wear blue jeans. Even boys had to wear dress pants. They couldn't wear jeans. So a year after I dropped out, they changed that. But I got kicked out. I mean, I would go to the Goodwill and find things like I went to the Goodwill and I found this red satin choir robe, like, for like high mass or something. But it was like short. It was like it came like halfway between my knees and my butt. And I wore that to school with black tights. And oh man, they were calling up my mom right away. So I was, kicked out for that, kicked out. And there was one other thing. I think it was a long shirt that I wore instead of a dress, and
Mm.
they kicked me out for that because it was too short. So I was just, constantly trying them with, everything. I didn't agree to their rules.
Yeah,
And
I was one of these. I was in plain sight. But I was so loud and funny. I got away with everything.
yeah.
I was in all the shows. We were there. I was. You're not supposed to be popular if you're in all the shows. Because
Yeah,
everyone
but
else.
you must have been really, I think you would have been fun to go to school with, but
Yeah, well, I was for the most part. Only because I forced myself on everyone. I used to walk down the staircase and tell hello to everybody. And
oh,
my best buddy would be in front of me, like, when he said hello to everyone. I'm hi, how are you? How you doing? And everyone.
yeah.
Basically I was a nut job. I was a weirdo, but I was overly friendly, overly. I made fun of everyone. I was like a comedian, and everyone was in my front row.
Yeah.
Well, hold on a second.
Yep. That is funny. I love that. So yeah, nah, we, the thing was that, we were both kind of doing whatever it was that led us to this place where we are right now,
Yeah.
which is I mean, it's the only purpose. So
Yeah, well, yeah, but still, I was playing stand up, and people were always in my front row. I wasn't trying to hurt anybody, but I'm sure for sure some people, I had some real zingers, you know. So
yeah.
I'm sure certain people weren't thrilled with my comedy. Yeah, I guess you can say. I'm sure if I went back, do one of those, like, Ghost of Christmas Past. I'm sure I probably should apologize to. But that's okay. We all have our pasts like that, I guess.
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, I went to school with Christina. She went to school with me.
Who did?
Christina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's how we met. When we were 11 years old. In a
Oh,
little nutty school. And
very interesting.
yeah,
Yeah. So that's a
she was
long time.
she was a wacky girl. She used to live what was it, man? It's 20 blocks from me.
Wow.
1 mile from me. And we both went to the same school.
Interesting. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Pretty
It's
wild.
funny how it goes. So,
Yeah. So,
but all
yeah,
perfect for all of us.
that's right. All right. So
So,
should we read this thing or
yeah, let's get this going.
what?
Enough reminiscing. Oh, but what I was saying was I get invites to the reunions, and
Uh,
people will send me, oh, why don't you come? Yeah, because I hated you then and I probably hate you now. No, not really. That's not true. But
yeah. Yeah.
all right, so we're
I should say that. It was terrible school in one area. No, not anything. I mean, if you applied yourself, you could force yourself to learn something in any school.
yes.
If you knew, but I didn't know how to study, and no one ever taught me how to study.
Yeah.
I did one study center when I first got there in seventh grade. I remember they gave me a study school center before I got there. In the summer, when I was before the summer, when I was 12 years old, they gave me a study school an entry program
Uh-huh.
for junior. That was it. That's all they offered really in terms of how to study that I can remember at least. And my parents didn't teach me how to study. They didn't want to know if I was studying, you know. And so I
Yeah.
sat there most of the time, not studying, just looking out the window. 'Cause
Oh, geez.
I wasn't allowed to watch TV. So I just sat there looking out the window,
Ah,
literally daydreaming all night. So that my
wow.
mind was very developed and the imagination and so forth. That was it. you know. So when I got to school, did you have your homework? No. I was sitting there, Wayne. Oh no, you don't do your homework. Oh, yeah. That was it. That was me in high school. And it was like,
Oh, geez.
well, I got away with it because I had a nice smile, and nice guy, nice kid, and I always ended up doing enough to not get straight F's. I had C's basically.
That's pretty amazing.
You
Yeah.
know, so I got C's basically, and I ended up doing extra credit stuff, and I schmoozed my way to getting some of what I had to get through. And I did
Yep.
every show they ever did.
Yep.
I did all the shows there, so I made myself relevant in some way, I guess. And
Yeah, you had to keep up some kind of grades to get in that because,
well, no, that was what kept me there, was that, well, the
yep.
show. So I did the shows, I'm sure I would have been gone. I think I know that because the guy told me that. The principal told me that. He said that, if you were just, if you weren't doing those shows, you'd be nothing, you'd be nobody. It was very strange,
Wow.
very strange interview, meeting I had with him, where he said, how's it feel to be the best at something? It feels nice, thank you. And then he says to me, because if you weren't doing that, you'd be like so and so. And he mentioned somebody's name. You'd be like that kid over there that I've known my whole life. But he was we were friends, but I've known him my whole life. And he mentioned his name. You'd be like him. And
Jeez.
anyway, so this is a very strange interview, meeting. But so basically he was trying to say you have something, try to generalize that feeling to everything else and do better.
Yeah.
That didn't work.
Yeah. Well, we come with our I thought I was going to be an artist. I spent the whole time I was in high school, that's all I did was hang out in the art room. I was
You
the
mean like the drawing, like the drawing? You mean?
Yeah, drawing,
Oh, I see.
sculptures, all that kind of stuff. I was the what do you call it? I was the teacher's aide in there. I kept up, I did all kinds of stuff in there. But yeah, I would come into school like before the school was even open in the morning. I would just go in there because I could had a key. I could get in the art room, and I would go in there and uh, make pottery or work on sculptures or drawings. I was like, I was sure that was what I was going to do was be an artist. And so I was all cool. And then this was before, obviously, I decided to drop out. And then we got a new art teacher. And the first thing she did, I was making this large, like sculpture I was making out of like a big, like maybe a refrigerator box, a big box. And on the outside, it was all bright and had flowers and, hippie looking. But then on the inside, there was like I had a whole thing set up. It looked like hell. It was like hell, like apocalyptic, like fake fires, lights and cars. There was a little what do you call it? Conveyor belt that I made look like a little road, and I had cars on it, and they were driving into this flaming thing, and it was like a whole, you look outside and it's all cool, and you look inside and it's hell. And the first thing that I came in one day, and that was in the garbage. She had had the janitor take it out, so that was gone.
Oh, it's
And
terrible.
then I did my sister had these beautiful roses in her garden, and I drew pictures of her roses, and the teacher tore up my rose pictures, said no one in this class can draw roses. I'm the only one who can draw roses.
Oh
The
my
teacher
God,
said this to me.
you made me want to play a song. You know, song you made me want to play.
That's right.
You know, song I'm talking
Yeah.
about. What's his name? What's his name? Shoot. What's the name of the song? I feel Harry Chapin song.
That Harry Chapin song. That's right.
Yeah.
That was that teacher.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
exactly. That's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking of.
Yeah.
Roses are red. What was the
Roses are
roses?
red. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So we should put that, but maybe put it at the end.
Yeah. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
And she, and I think that probably led very closely to me just saying to hell with this school. I'm out of here. Because
Yeah.
I mean, believe me, there wasn't anything holding me on there. So
Well, yeah,
anyway, let's look at our book.
you turned into that kid though. That's good.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that would have
Yeah, no,
been
I did it because I came out and I said, flowers or whatever the hell color I want to make them.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
they're all over the world. There, I was
Exactly.
the other teacher that was saying, "Oh no,
Yeah, exactly.
these flowers are all these colors." So, yeah, when you play that song, I always it always hits me.
Yeah,
So,
I'll play it today. It was last it
uh,
was like 10
that's a
minutes
good
ago.
idea. All
Yeah.
right, let us get our
Okay.
book going, and I'm just going to go ahead and click play audio and hope it knows where we were.
All right.
Okay, wait. I have to come down here. There's another button down at the bottom that I have to push. Oh, there we go.
Chapter 2. The Arrival.
I don't hear anything. Lynn?
It attempts
Yes.
to substitute
No idea.
falsity for truth,
I didn't hear
fear
anything for a
for
while.
love.
What that?
I heard nothing for like 30 seconds. Now I
Oh,
hear.
are you hearing now?
Well, now I hear you, but I don't hear
Oh,
anything.
okay, because I have to do something else with the share, which is share the sound.
Oh, well, you
Okay.
listen, I heard it sound like off and on, but
Yeah, well, that's because you were hearing it through my mic. So
oh,
let's see
okay.
if this works. All right.
And separation for oneness.
Yeah.
As long as you are driven by the movement of ego-based thought, you will not be attracted to truth. There are but two systems of thought, one true and one false. When falsity is preferred, is truth absent. If you but recognize the cost to you in suffering of allegiance to the ego, you would raise to question all that you now believe. Your beliefs and perception based on belief bring about your experience. Perception and belief literally construct the world you see and determine your experience of it. You see what you believe, and you believe what you want to believe. It is there because you want it to be there. Yet is this forgotten, absent from awareness, and so it must be if you are to impute reality and independence to the world you see. This picture of reality could not be long maintained unless you forgot your role in making it.
All right, I'm just going to
How
stop
simple,
that there.
how wonderful is that? How simple is that? You know?
Yeah, go ahead.
I love that. It's so simple.
Yeah.
I mean, you have that. It's almost be up here, perception and belief literally construct. Basically, I've said this before, as you believe, it's done unto you. Very simple. That's how it is. And once you understand that, a very simple axiom, you're trapped in it. You can't get out of it. It's too bad it's so sad for you. But if you say to me, I don't believe that, well, you're affirming that that's your reality. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yes, exactly. Well, and the thing is, I can't perceive anything unless I'm aware of it.
Right.
And I'm only aware of it because I have chosen to look at it.
Yeah.
So when he's saying uh if if you believe what the ego's telling you, then your beliefs and perceptions are based on whatever that ego tells you something is. So if I think I know what it is, like I think I know that right now, the way the weather is because of global warming, and the reason global warming is the way it is because of carbon emissions and all the things that we've done to make the greenhouse effect, and I have all these beliefs And so every time I see anything happening, that is a confirmation bias that my belief is right. So, and that's what is constructing the world that I think, so if I look and I say the weather's getting crazy and everything is going wild, I'm going to look and say, these are the people who are to blame for this. And I'm going to be blaming people for it, um, because I've already made that my worldview.
Well, here,
But
here's a good example. That's what you're saying, and
yeah,
this is now in a history that's not necessarily true, but to make my point, just for the sake of this point, I'm going to pretend it's true. Let's say Columbus's voyage in 1492. Before that, no one necessarily knew. Well, for his voyage. Before him, 11, 12, 1200, most people thought the Earth was flat. Okay, we can agree on that maybe. The most before they thought the Earth was round,
right,
they thought it was flat. Now they were living in a what I like to call a belief bubble, totally made up of beliefs. They had no idea that the Earth was round. They actually, in their head, they saw a world of a flat Earth. That's what they saw. That's what they experienced, and they lived their life according to that. They would not get on boats that they thought were out of gas because they ran out of food and they'd be dead. They'd be too far
yeah,
out, and if they were too far, they'd fall off the edge of the earth. So they ran out of money, and so people had to actually run their lives accordingly according to how the idea of a flat Earth. You know, and then when Columbus or whoever did this, however it was done, that the flat Earth was, or the round Earth was discovered, that whole pin hit that plane,
right,
and the
yeah,
bubble popped. And then one day the bubble will be popping about all this.
yes,
Pop, 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 pop.
absolutely, yes,
That's having the beliefs. They all just pop eventually. But the thing is, right now, it's an axiom. We are believing reality into existence. And the choice is, do you want to believe it according to the ego or according to the spirit?
exactly. Yeah, and that, I mean, the Course in Miracles says that projection makes perception.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
whatever it is that we're projecting, that's what we're seeing.
Yes.
Yeah. And this last line says, this picture of reality could not be long maintained unless you forget your role in making it.
Yep.
So basically what he's saying is the only reason that I continue to think the world is flat is because I made up the story that the world was flat and I believed it in my mind.
Exactly.
And,
The only reason why I continue to think the world's flat is because I continue to think the world's flat.
yeah,
And that's the funny. I think the world's flat because I think the world's flat.
right, right.
And I will continue to think the world's flat so long as I continue to think the world's flat.
That's
And
right.
if I want to stop thinking the world's flat, I have to stop thinking the world's flat. And it's so easy, but so hard.
Right. And if all you ever lived your life, you were just like living on a mountain in the middle of, some place where you didn't have civilians or other people around you, you would have no reason to think anything different than that.
Right. Hmm.
Because look around you, it all looks pretty flat to me,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know.
Well, yeah. So kids, I told you, I think it was Julie, my daughter. She didn't believe me when I said the Earth was round. She didn't believe it was dad. Stop it. I said, no, I'm serious. It's round. She's like, "Ah," it was crazy. And then I told my other daughter, I said, steam comes out of the ground, and cities where steam comes out of the ground.
Uh-huh.
I said, oh, that's how clouds were made.
Yes. I have a question.
Mm.
I
Yes,
Yes.
have
yes.
how does this, what I believe is what I see. Now, I'm just trying to figure out how this relates to the the experiments of that double split. And in other words, when you observe something, and it doesn't even have to be a human observation, whenever there's anything that records it or views it, in some way. It alters the reality going from waves to particles. Does this at all relate, or is that a completely different subject? I think somehow I intuit that it's related. My perception alters reality.
Yes, that is very much in keeping with. I mean, I'm not a quantum physicist, but it is very much it's quantum reality, and there is a quantum spirituality, and it's very much in keeping with it. I mean, if I look at something, I'm not it's something solid. If I'm not looking at it, it's a wave, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What
that
does that relate to
yeah,
this?
sure, sure, absolutely. I mean, that's just proof that what you're looking at has nothing to do with reality. You're not seeing what's really there. And then our senses, as usual, don't pick up what's almost really there, or we doesn't see the big picture. It only sees partial part of reality.
From
Uh,
what I'm understanding, because I've been reading a little bit up on it, is that reality has many, many, maybe infinite within it, like the ocean has within it the potential of all kinds of waves. And if you want to see a wave a certain way, reality will show you it because reality contains all the different possibilities.
Yes. Yeah, I can see that. Reality, there's a theory that every choice you make has every possible outcome that could possibly be has actually happened in reality. It's every possible outcome, so it would have to be possible so for instance, it's not possible that I would probably sprout wings tomorrow morning and fly away. But it is possible that I could get a high paying job within my lifetime. I'm maybe become a millionaire, and there's probably another reality where that's happened. So that's actually played out in another reality. That's another quantum reality. It's another reality where I've made choices, and because there's infinite number of realities, there's a number of points of view, there's a number of perspectives, there's a number of attention, putting
Yeah.
your attention on different. There's infinite number of ways that things have
There-
happened.
So there's no limit as to what I can perceive.
No,
Right.
there's no limit of point of views.
Ah,
But the thing is, unless you have something that I don't know of, you can't consciously with your mind say, I'm going to sprout wings now and sprout wings, even though in another reality you may have wings. In another dimension of the dream, if you can imagine it, if I could imagine it right now, that means that it's not some new thing that just came up. This is an imagination that has been part of the illusion, part of the tiny mad idea from the beginning. We can't think up new things. So if it
ah,
you can think
you
it
know
up,
what? One of the commandments is thou shalt make no graven images. What
Yes.
that means is that if you really want to have inner peace, love, and connection, and if you really want to know the divine, you've got to let go of your one perceptual mental imaging.
yes. Yeah. But that's for your own thinking. You're not going to change the world through changing your mind, even though, but you will change the world that you experience by
Yes.
changing your mind. My
So,
experience is what changes,
when you left
not
over
the
was
world itself.
and what's left over is your own point of view, which is actually, interestingly enough, is actually what you're left with, a point of view, literally a point of view. Nothing at all is left, total emptiness and a point of view. And then that's who you are. You're nothing but a point of view. You're a split off point of view, and then that's it. Nothing else there. And then you start. I want to see things from over there. I want to see things from over there. I want to be over there. I want to be over there. Now you're in 10 different places at one time, and that's what we did. We said, now I want to be in 4,000 trillion places at one time. Now I'm be in a billion places at one time. Now look at this. I'm everywhere now. hey, this is a lot of fun. And now we're in a separation game.
Yeah.
And then if you really want to get rid of everything, you go back to that oneness, one point of view, and then that goes away eventually, and you're back into that new place void. I mean the good place where
Yeah.
that spiritual oblivion where we're all, at this point afraid of, because it seems to be a void. But up to that point, I mean, I've transcended, but that and I've been there in that dream, and it's just a lonely, but not even lonely. It's just an empty one sort of place, and you're sort of on a peak, and it's just looking out, and that's it.
Yeah.
There's nothing
Well,
else there. What else will be there once you let go of everything? Well, all point of views are gone when you're just sitting there being a point of view. And then what is
right.
your point of view? It's just that you're a point of view. It's like
And you
truth.
know
Truth is truth.
what's so interesting about that, and this is something I've thought about quite a bit. It may or may not be true, but it is something that has come to me over and over, is that, I came here, I decided I wanted to have an experience. And I didn't want to just have the experience of me, Lynn, my life, what goes on. I wanted to have the experience of you and Lynn and Steve and Lynn. And so I wanted to see
Man.
it from all points of view. I want to know everything from every point of view. And it's
Well, we did that.
impossible
That's the thing.
as
We did
separate
that.
beings.
We did that as that point of
Yes,
view. I mean, that point of view that I was, I'm sure you were too. When we get to
yes,
that point, we're all together as that one point of view. But I'm seeing
right,
it from my perspective here, and you see it from your perspective there, and we're all that we've broken through that dream barrier, so to speak.
right, right.
The barrier that
So
I can't be in your dream, and I'm in your dream, you're in my dream, but we can't sort of break the barrier of being in one, completely, actually one. And eventually we will break that barrier, and that's where we are, that higher one place where we're looking out.
right. And
You know,
so I am both the things. I'm all things.
exactly. Yeah, actually, exactly. And then at one point, and then I mean a singular, sort of a singular we, I or we decided we're going to be in two places at one time, and then four places at one time, four point of
Yeah.
views, five point of views, six point of views, and so eventually we had an infinite number of point of views, all a little bit different.
Wow. Yeah,
And
exactly.
that's the core of the problem.
That is
All point of
exactly
views are a little bit different.
I
all.
look at it in a beautiful way with what I've been studying about particles and waves in the world of form. That's another word for saying the world of particles. There aren't really particles. Atoms are not, if you break them down, it's really the ocean represents the wave, the
Right.
actual everything. And when I'm in the world of form, my body is this form. You cannot occupy in space, in form, where I am. Only I can occupy this place in form. However, time, because I've been reading about the Sabbath. The Sabbath is the day when God rested from creation, from making form. The first 6 days, and all this stuff. But
Right.
on the seventh day, he ceased making form and rested from the world of particles into this timeless. Now that's what we can share is the non-material, non-particle, the wave reality. The three of us are sharing it, but we can't share the same space and form. We can share this time, which is now. Isn't it something that we can share time in the present, but we can't share form in space in the same space, but we can in the same time? I
Right.
love
Absolutely.
that for some reason. I love that.
Yes, I think it's great. And then eventually, when we're one again, and when we break out of time, and eventually out of space, and we break out of time and space. We move into time and space for the for separation purposes, and we in time we it's almost as if the now there's time where there's which acts as a compressor to keep you this is to the past and this is the present, and then there's the now,
Yes,
which has I won't say no past, but it uses the past and the past is in the present and the future is in the present. So it
yes,
knows, and it can pull from it as though it's right there with it. And it's all in the now, and it be a large present time phenomena.
yes,
Yeah.
Because the now is just always the now, and because the now is the divine mind, and that now is just everywhere because it's larger than time. It's larger than time and space.
yes.
It's going to be nice the one day when we get to the fourth dimension or the fifth dimension, and we see time. We can move through time, just like we move through space.
In other words, time is no longer perceived as as something that's moving. That's our creation because
Exactly.
because we move in form.
Is
Time
that
doesn't move,
is
and
it
that
right?
time is only here now.
Exactly, exactly. And we move through time just like we move. I mean, if I move through this door over here behind me and leave the room, that's
Right.
pretty easy for me. Now, but if I want to move to 1942, that's kind of difficult. But soon, one day, I'm going to be able to do the same. This is easy for me to move backwards in time and just move backwards out of my room.
That's right.
You know, isn't that cool?
Yeah. Yeah, because you're there already. So
Exactly.
it's just the same being
Not a viewpoint.
here or there. It doesn't matter because we're already there. We're
Yep.
already there. We're already here.
It's a
Yeah.
viewpoint. It's viewpoint. Viewpoint.
And my ego, for some reason, can't handle
No.
function is past and future.
No, exactly, exactly, exactly. Well, I was I did a meditation once in a mindfulness thing, and they said, close your eyes. Now, imagine you're someplace and smell the place, and feel the thing, and smell it, and touch it, now see it, hear the birds around you, and all the senses. Now, how do you know where you are in life? Because your senses say where you are, right? Well, now you all five senses are saying you where you are. What's telling you that you're not there? There's a voice in your head saying, you're not there, you're here. Well, that's your ego.
Uh,
That's your ego. Your ego says, no, you're not there, you're here. No, you're in both places.
It's your learned experience.
Yeah. But it's
And
your
I
program.
can only experience what I've learned to
Your programming. Your
experience.
programming. Yeah. He was how you
Yeah.
program it.
I haven't learned to experience time travel. But if I did, because it's already here that now, there's no place it couldn't be, then I would be everywhere all the time.
Yeah, and then there's no way your ego's going to agree to that. I mean, how could it?
No.
Oh yeah,
And
all right, that's the problem. Yeah, I have no problem with that.
right. And
No,
that's why he says right here, this picture of reality could not be long maintained unless you forget your role in making it. As long as I don't know that I'm the one who's making that choice, I'm going to have this belief that the world is real,
and what's the key to salvation?
that I'm doing it myself.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, interesting discussion, guys. I want to listen to a little bit more of this.
Okay,
yeah.
and then I'll play the song.
Okay, all right.
Belief in guilt. The belief in guilt, sin, and tech holds this world together in your mind, giving it its appeal. Unless the world provided you with something that has value to you, you would cease to maintain it. What value does it have? The world as you see it provides you with scapegoats, with people and situations onto whom you can project guilt, blame, and punishment. The deep guilt that lives in your mind and the need to punish that guilt is an intolerable burden that must find release. Yet the ego cannot allow guilt to be totally healed, for its existence depends on it. Its solution is to project guilt and the need to attack, to punish, onto the world, onto your brothers. The inner tension is thus temporarily lessened and made tolerable, yet never is it completely healed. Thereby is the belief in guilt and attack strengthened. Guilt is either true or false. It cannot be both. To see guilt anywhere in anyone for any reason is to make it real. How you see your brother is how you see yourself. What you see as real in your brother, you will see in yourself. This is a law of mind that is always in effect, even in the world of illusion. To project your sense of guilt onto your brother and to condemn him for it, which is to attack him, will never rid your mind of the guilt you carry. To see guilt anywhere is to confirm it in your mind and thus condemn yourself to further suffering. Fear always accompanies guilt, and suffering is the inevitable result. The end of suffering is the end of guilt. Only the guilty suffer, for only they have need of it. Innocence demands nothing of anyone, but rather wills only to give. All it sees are worthy of the gifts it gives, for it sees only itself everywhere and in everything. The innocent cannot suffer or condemn. They know not fear, and so love is all they have to give. Those who know love only need not fear. For them the world has become a happy place ruled by love. Everywhere they look, they see only the face of innocence. Holiness and innocence are the qualities of the capital S Self, the Christ, the one Spirit that is the truth of all. Where its face is seen, love has returned to bless the world, freed from fear, and under its gentle gaze are all forgiven and returned to the kingdom of God. Guilt demands vengeance to be paid in blood and suffering. The guilty see no one as innocent, for to do so would deny the fundamental, alleged truth on which their world is based. They see a guilty world in which every hand is raised against them, and everywhere attack lies in wait. The face of friendship but conceals the desire to condemn, for no one can be trusted. The guilty have no friends, only temporary alliances entered into for specific purposes. Their shifting and unstable goals make them all the more untrustworthy, and nowhere can safety and security be found. The guilty cannot be trusted, for their guilt has driven them mad, and madness is treacherous to all. Such is the bleak picture those who believe in guilt have constructed to represent the world wherein they live. And everyone is waiting to do to them what they think they have done to their brothers. Vengeance given and received makes love impossible. Where love is not, fear rules, bringing pain and misery to all.
No, it's really nice. I love it.
Hey,
You know what?
I'm looking right here at Teachings of Christ's Mind, table of contents from the Christ Mind, book 1. Is this where we are?
Yeah,
Which,
Yeah.
wow, I love this writing.
it is.
It's accessible. What number is it? The end of time, beginning again. It has 1 through 12 and then an epilogue. Where are we?
We are in, I don't know, let me look and see if I can see it on here. We are in the arrival of truth.
Okay, thank you. Man, I never heard of this book, but it speaks so clearly. Thank
Yeah,
you.
sure.
Yeah,
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 that's what I said before. It's just, the main difference is it's just it's not as thick and bumpy as the course can be for some people. You
yeah.
know,
And then we have the second book also.
yeah,
Who's he?
Darren
Uh,
Morley Price.
Daryl Morley Price.
It's
Yeah,
channel
yeah, yeah. I
material.
see it. That's book 1 and 2. I see that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
One
And
through
there's
this.
other books here too.
Yeah, no, there are
So
a lot of books there you should take a look at. Yeah, all
yeah,
of those.
so yeah, the impersonal life is on here. Um, Choose
Wonderful.
Only Love, which is really beautiful as well. These are all beautiful, but The Way of Mastery, yeah, so and a couple of Course in Miracles that are basically the same. So
Yeah,
yeah, you have a choice of what you want to hear.
yeah. One thing I want
Thank
to say
you.
quickly before we went was interesting. This is how, unlike most, Hindu or based or Eastern based philosophies, where it's not a negative necessarily that we're projecting um, our reality. This is it seems to be the language that's always being used by Jesus here is the language of attack. Everything's always an attack, and I always wondered why. I didn't wonder why. It's just that I always say, all right, he's a little bit more pessimistic or a little bit more hard on us.
Yeah,
And then you realize one of the other reasons is the universe or life or is so perfect, so awesome, so wonderful. Then the slightest negativity, he says this actually in the course in other areas, the slightest negativity, the slightest thing that goes wrong is an outright attack. So if it's the smallest thing we do that has any amount of negativity attached to it, it might as well be the largest explosion. And that's why everything we do, every choice we make is off kilter. And so easy, it's so easy every choice we make might as well be way off. Might as well be big. We might as well make, and so either, we're either in attack mode or we're not. And attack mode is basically any choice we basically make. Most choices that we make are attacks choices. But it's so easy to make them. It's so obvious. Everything we do, obviously, that we think is self-evident. Get up in the morning, compete for this, compete for that, go to work. Everything we do is attack.
yeah, yeah, everything.
And that's because he's a nice person, and that's because the world is actually so soft, so beautiful that anything comes out. God is so perfect that we can't get as high as we can't get there yet. We're so small, in self-perception, and that's what that whole thing was about. You're guilty, the guilty, the guilty, the guilty, the guilty, the small, all self-induced
Yep.
misperception.
You know what? I believe that there's value in accepting the world of guilt, of incompleteness, of not enough, of tension, fear. Somehow it's intrinsic in the world of form itself. There's something for me that is to be gained by accepting my perceptions as they are.
Agreed. Huh. You hear a lot of that here. Sure, sure,
Yeah.
sure. Say you hear a lot of that here. I mean, there's nothing else to do. Is just enjoy yourself as much as possible, and take it as you
Yeah,
come. And experience. If you can learn to experience anything and everything, then you'll have a fun time here.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the best flowers grow out of the worst shit,
Yep.
shitty soil.
All right. Oh, you know, since they in the song, we can't play it, on the air. I don't
I'm
know.
going to go ahead and close out the YouTube
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
so you can play the song.
And
All
then
right.
I'll find it. Roses. What is roses are red? Is that what it is?
I think that's what it is. So I
Okay.
love you, Wayne. Thank you, Steve. Everyone who's joining in,
Yes.
watching on the
Yeah.
YouTube.
Thanks very much, everyone. God bless us. I'll see you next week for.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. I am probably going to be taking off on Easter,
Oh,
because
okay.
I'll
I mean,
probably
that's
going
right.
over to
Yeah.
my family's,
Okay.
and yeah, so
Uh,
we'll, but that's 2 weeks from now. So